might want to take custody, as ED has already suggested in court. So we do not really know what transpires from here. But right now, Arvind Kejriwal is inside Tihar jail. Developments to take place from here onwards very soon.
Okay, so at this point, as Arvind Kejriwal has been taken into jail number 2, that's where Pooja Shali is reporting from. She's right outside jail number 2. So she got you that live image of the convoy as it went inside. Nobody catching a glimpse of Arvind Kejriwal, because you can see that all of the windows have been closed shut, all the shutters down to ensure that there's no picture of Arvind Kejriwal that gets out. But it is very, very clear, Pooja, from what happened in court today and in the last...
In its fund war, Income Tax Department says it will not press for recovery of money until end of Lok Sabha polls. BJP moves Election Commission against Rahul. BJP hits out at Rahul Gandhi's match-fixing claims. Supreme Court allows puja to continue in Gyanvapi Tehkana. Top court says seller puja status quo will not be altered. Says Muslims can continue to offer prayers in the mosque. There's been a big setback for the Muslim side in the Bhojshala dispute as well. Supreme Court refuses to stay the ASI survey at the Bhojshala temple complex. Turkish President Erdogan suffers shocking defeat in key local polls. Opposition stuns Erdogan with a historic victory in big cities like Istanbul. The Turkish president says mistakes will be corrected. All right, the latest news break coming in. We're getting you exclusive details on Arvind Kejriwal's Tihar stay. Arvind Kejriwal has been lodged in jail number 2. He will be sleeping on a slab of cement. 24/7 CCTV surveillance of Kejriwal's barrack. 4 security personnel have been deployed to protect him. This barrack is about 14 feet long, 8 feet wide. It also has a toilet. There will be a television in the room, a raised platform made of cement in which a sheet is provided to lay on, a blanket to cover and a pillow. Well, these are the latest pieces of information filtering out of the Tihar jail in terms of what would be the living condition of Arvind Kejriwal. He himself has requested for 3 books, the Bhagavad Gita, the Ramayana, and another book that he has asked for. He's also asked for a chair and table. Will those demands be met in terms of books? In all probability, yes. But will a chair and a table also be provided? Cutting across to Shreya Chatterjee, joining us live from outside the Tihar jail. Shreya, as per protocol, Arvind Kejriwal, will you take us through on what has he been accorded? What are the privileges which are possibly different from other accused who are housed in Tihar jail? He's also requested for a table chair. Will he be allowed?
First and foremost, Preeti, we do know that Arvind Kejriwal has been allowed a special diet, some medicines, 3 books. This is after an application was moved formally by his lawyer today in court while he was sent to judicial custody. Now, all of us already know, as is being reported, that Arvind Kejriwal is now being lodged in the jail number 2. The reason behind that is the jail number 2 is for those, usually those people who are already convicted, and such special cases are treated in jail number 2. The reason for that is of the heavy security. Now, people who stay in jail number 2, they are not really required to be brought out of their prison for regular activity. There is a separate common area that is there in jail number 2. Now, because we are talking about the sitting Chief Minister of the National Capital and the heavy security needs to be provided, Arvind Kejriwal has been lodged in jail number 2, keeping in mind that as required, minimal interaction will be done with any other prisoners, and he will be staying in a separate prison where there will be a television as well. So he will not be disconnected from the outside world. So this is something that will be a regular activity for Arvind Kejriwal. He will be provided a special diet. A medical checkup has already been done, and he's right now inside that prison jail, which is in jail number 2.
All right, jail number 2. Shreya, there have been requests that have been made by Arvind Kejriwal, primarily relating to medicines that he wants access to. Arvind Kejriwal is diabetic. He needs insulin. Number 2, he's also asked for a special diet because he is diabetic. Number 3, he's asked for books. He's asked for a table and chair. Will all that be accorded to him?
Well, absolutely. Those will be accorded because these have been directed. We've seen this happening after Arvind Kejriwal's judicial custody was given by the court. There was an application that was formally moved by his counsel. They had requested for the special diet. They had requested for 3 books and they had requested for medicines to be given by Arvind Kejriwal. Now, none of these have also been objected by the Enforcement Directorate. So clearly, there were no grounds of rejecting the same and he's been allowed. Even earlier, both the Enforcement Directorate and Arvind Kejriwal's counsel themselves have suggested that the sugar levels of Arvind Kejriwal have been dipping. That's primarily why these special allowances have been given to him. Apart from that, everything else will be strictly adhered to as per the jail manual.
A quick question, Shreya, before we let you go. When he was in ED remand, he was allowed to meet Sunita Kejriwal daily for half hour. He was allowed home food. As per the jail manual protocol, how many times can he be visited by his family? How many times in a week can he have access to his lawyers? Will you give us those details?
He will be having access to his lawyers between the time period of 4 p.m. It's a window of half an hour that is allowed to those who are booked inside Tihar jail. So far as Sunita Kejriwal and other visitors are concerned, that will strictly be adhered to the protocols that have to be followed. So far as Tihar is concerned, there will be formal requests that have to be sent in by these visitors, which, if allowed, only then Arvind Kejriwal can meet them. Remember, the Enforcement Directorate specifically will also have a know-how of these things because Arvind Kejriwal will not be allowed to meet any of them where the agency suggests that there could be a possibility of hampering their investigation. But as far as his lawyers are concerned, he will be allowed to meet them between that 4 p.m. to 5 window, which is allowed to every visitor, every individual in the jail regularly.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Shreya, with all the details there. We're going to get back to you for more updates. Meanwhile, let's take you through in terms of Arvind Kejriwal now being sent to Tihar jail for 2 weeks, 14 days. A Delhi court today, the PMLA Rouse Avenue court, granted 14-day judicial custody to Arvind Kejriwal. Now, this will be till the 15th of this month. India Today has exclusively accessed the remand note of the ED, where they claim that Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal was evading questions and refused to disclose passwords to his digital device. It's something that the Enforcement Directorate has maintained from the word go. Furthermore, the ED says he purportedly threw his own party leaders where he said that they were confused. He claimed Vijay Nair reported to Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj and not to him, and his interaction with Nair was limited. For his time in Tihar jail, Arvind Kejriwal has made specific requests, like we pointed out. He wants 3 books, the Bhagavad Gita, he wants the Ramayana, and a book titled How Prime Ministers Decide. Additionally, Arvind Kejriwal asked for access to necessary medicines and a special diet, which we just also detailed. Remember, alongside Arvind Kejriwal, there are other AAP leaders who have been incarcerated. Sanjay Singh is in jail 5, Manish Sisodia in jail number 1, Satyendra Jain jail number 7, BRS leader K. Kavitha in jail number 6. But of course, Arvind Kejriwal will have zero interaction with any of these inmates.
अरविंद जी पूरा इंडिया गठबंधन कल आपके लिए जुटा अरविंद जी पूरा इंडिया गठबंधन कल आपके लिए जुटा रामले मैदान क्या कहेंगे?
प्रधानमंत्री जी जो ये कर रहे हैं ये देश के लिए अच्छा नहीं है।
11 दिन उनकी पूछताछ हुई है, पूछताछ पूरी हो गई है, अदालत ने दोषी नहीं कहा, उनको जेल में क्यों डाला है? लोगों का एक ही मकसद है, इनको चुनावों में उनको जेल में डालना है। देश की जनता इस तानाशाही का जवाब देगी।
This is the dictatorship of Mr. Modi. 2,715 crores BJP extorted from industrialists using ED. Extortion Directorate it has become. 60 crores from Sarath Chandra Reddy BJP got. That prime accused of the Sarab Ghatala. Approver. Only statement of Sarath Chandra Reddy, they arrested Kejriwal, the sitting Chief Minister. India is watching. The world is watching. The biggest democracy is in danger. The constitution is in danger. The country is in danger. Everybody is watching. BJP and Mr. Modi, they are misusing, abusing their power of ED, their power of CBI, their power of Election Commission also.
Those who try to portray the bogey of victimhood, I would like to underline that today's judgment of the court is based on the concrete evidences. Now it raises certain moral and constitutional question. अतः हमारे विपक्षी दल जो निरर्थक और अनर्गल बयानबाजी करते हैं, उन्हें इन गंभीर तथ्यों पर विचार करना चाहिए और न्यायालय ने अपना इस विषय पर अभिमत दे दिया है।
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी राजनीति में किसी को सामने नहीं आने देते। अब वो आतिशी जी को और सौरभ भारद्वाज को फंसाने जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि वो जानते हैं अगर वो बाहर रहेंगे वो मुख्यमंत्री बन जाएंगे, अरविंद केजरीवाल जेल में रह जाएंगे। इसलिए ये अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने जो आज सनसनीखेज खुलासा किया है, एक बात स्पष्ट हो गई है कि शराब में घोटाला हुआ। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने मना नहीं किया, उन्होंने ये कहा कि पैसे का लेन देन आतिशी और सौरभ भारद्वाज को पता है, मुझे नहीं पता इन्होंने कितने पैसे लिए, कैसे लिए और कहां कहां खर्च किए। सो एक बात स्पष्ट हो गया, घोटाला शराब का हुआ था।
All right, let me quickly cut across to Manish Pandey and Shrishti Ojha. Shrishti Ojha was in court today where Arvind Kejriwal was given judicial custody for a fortnight, 2 weeks. Manish Pandey getting us the latest from the newsroom in terms of what the ED sources seeming to tell him. Manish, other than, of course, what the ED made its case in court where Arvind Kejriwal, as per the ED, has said that Vijay Nair, one of the prime accused in the case, reported not to him but to Atishi and Saurabh. More details there and what to expect in days to come. Do we also see the CBI stepping in at some point?
Absolutely, Preeti. What we have been given to understand by our sources within the Central Bureau of Investigation that 100% they are going to take custody of Arvind Kejriwal in the alleged excise policy scam case. Now, when they will approach the court, that is the bigger question. What we have been given to understand is that all the officials, including the legal department in the Central Bureau of Investigation, is of the opinion that they should seek custody of Arvind Kejriwal, and most probably there is a high possibility that in the next charge sheet filed by the Central Bureau of Investigation, Arvind Kejriwal will be named as accused in the case. If it happens, then Arvind Kejriwal has to seek bail not only in ED's case, but also in the CBI's case, which is going to be troubling for him. As far as Enforcement Directorate is concerned, their strategy is very clear. They want Arvind Kejriwal to be incarcerated in the Tihar jail, and that is why they have not sought further custody of Arvind Kejriwal. The plan is that if there is a need, they can call him again for questioning. He can be questioned within the Tihar jail, and there is a possibility that in future, the Enforcement Directorate may even ask Atishi to join the investigation, because according to Enforcement Directorate, Arvind Kejriwal, during the questioning regarding Vijay Nair's involvement in the entire crime, he told that Vijay Nair was reporting to Atishi and Saurabh Bharadwaj. So there is a possibility that she can also be called in for questioning in connection with this case. So ED is moving, its steps very carefully. First, they are claiming that they are gathering evidence, and then only they will question any person in connection with this case.
All right, Manish, appreciate you joining us. Let's pull in Shreya Ojha. Shreya, will you take us through, because there were certain revelations that were made in court today, which Manish has corroborated, especially where it came down to the role and the name of Atishi and Saurabh. Over to you, Shrishti.
Well, definitely, Preeti. In the last hearing, we saw like a high-intensity dramatic hearing when the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal had decided to not only address the court himself directly, but also make some really strong allegations against the ED, saying that they're running an extortion racket. Enforcement Directorate today has came back with an equally explosive response where they've made strong remarks against the Chief Minister, saying that he's not been cooperating in the investigation. He's been misleading the investigation deliberately. Not just that, according to them, along the non-cooperation aside, he's not been sharing passwords of the digital devices associated with the case, which has important evidence. He's not been giving his phone. Other than that, they've pointed out some statements which have been made by Arvind Kejriwal before ED. According to ED, it's their claim that Arvind Kejriwal's statements have been contrary to the statements which have been made by other AAP leaders before before the Enforcement Directorate. They've said that Arvind Kejriwal, when the difference in statements was pointed out to the Chief Minister, he's called the other AAP leaders confused. He's even referred to the national spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party as a confused person. Not just that, another strong statement that has come out from the ED today before court was that Arvind Kejriwal, in his own statement, has agreed that Vijay Nair, who's one of the important accused, one of the main accused in this case, and AAP's former communications in charge, according to Arvind Kejriwal, according to ED, Arvind Kejriwal in his statement clearly stated that Vijay Nair did not report to him but reported to cabinet ministers Atashi and Saurabh Bhardwaj instead. Why this becomes important is because this is the first time that we have seen Atashi and Saurabh Bhardwaj's name being roped in by the ED before the court, not just before the court but also in its remand application, where they've claimed that Arvind Kejriwal has claimed to have no interaction with Vijay Nair whatsoever, and has said that he used to report to Atashi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. What will be important to see here is that while Arvind Kejriwal is now in judicial custody, will the heat or will the Liquorgate heat now also increase on Atashi and Saurabh Bhardwaj? Because we already have 3 Aam Aadmi Party leaders, including Manish Sisodia, Sanjay Singh and now Arvind Kejriwal behind bars. It will be important to see what the implication of ED's statement today before the court will be. Back to you.
All right, Shrishti, appreciate you joining us. All the angles, viewers, that we've got you. What the ED is thinking, what went down in court, what's happening with Arvind Kejriwal, who's now lodged in the Tihar jail. What is the Aam Aadmi Party thinking? Let's get you that. And joining me for that is my colleague Amit Bhardwaj. Amit, Arvind Kejriwal's confinement now leaves up reeling and facing an uphill task. Multiple issues there. The party is gearing up to navigate through this crisis. They may, at least strategy-wise, directly challenge the Prime Minister on what they term as dictatorial governance, while being steadfast on maintaining their stance on running the government from jail. On the other hand, multiple points, Amit. Very clear on the role of Sunita Kejriwal, that she's going to be Aam Aadmi Party's Trump emotional card in all of this. Very clear on the role of a Bhagwant Mann on what he needs to do, especially when it comes down to campaigning on a national level. They have a Lok Sabha election to fight, and after Arvind Kejriwal, the biggest vote catcher is going to be a Bhagwant Mann, whereas Sandeep Pathak is going to come in and he's going to take the role of the strategist, the backroom boy, who's going to make sure that this election has a strategy in terms of, or a narrative which is being fought. So you might not see him too much on television cameras, the Rajya Sabha MP, but more at the back end. Where Delhi comes into question, Amit, I believe it's going to be an Atashi and a Saurabh Bhardwaj who's going to be making sure that the government is run. But what if the LG recommends president rule, Amit? Then what is the plan of the Aam Aadmi Party?
Preeti, you spelled out the plan for Aam Aadmi Party that has been chalked out possibly by the AAP chief Arvind Kejriwal himself before going to jail. Because there are specific rules of individuals which was chalked out, and so far it's working very smoothly. As you mentioned, Sunita Kejriwal is the emotional trump card that's working very well, and so is Sandeep Pathak role. We saw the way he minutely managed the Ramlila ground rally. But now the question is that what happens if there is a threat to the president's rule in the national capital? Number one. And number two, so far the Aam Aadmi Party is heavily depending on the second line of leadership, the young battery, which was put in reserve mode, ever since the arrest of Manish Sisodia and the Sanjay Singh and the threat of arrest of Arvind Kejriwal looming large. As Shrishti was also mentioning, Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj's name has cropped up in this particular investigation. However, Aam Aadmi Party is saying that this is a statement given by Vijay Nair almost 2 years back to the Enforcement Directorate. Why the agency is picking it up right now, placing it in front of the court right now, is something that Aam Aadmi Party sources are questioning about. Now, coming to the presidential rule part, Aam Aadmi Party right now, they are saying that as far as legal aspects are concerned, the LG or the MHA cannot impose the president's rule in the national capital because there's a brute majority of the Aam Aadmi Party in the Delhi Assembly right now. Even if the Chief Minister is in jail, there are no constitutional provisions which stops them, from running the government from the jail. So they're confident that law is on their side. Back to you.
All right, Amit, appreciate you joining us with that. We're going to keep a keen eye, viewers. And on the other side, and to the point, we're going to get you the political angle. Because the BJP is now reining in on the Aam Aadmi Party, calling the government to be run from jail illegal. Will the LG bite? Will the LG now, who's been posturing and saying that he will never allow the Delhi government to be run from the confines of a jail, move or moot for president's rule? On the other side, do stay with us. To the point. As per protocol, Arvind Kejriwal, will you take us through on what has he been accorded? What are the privileges which are possibly different from other